Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Monday Morning Motivation. Today with me, Janine. I'll be your host, and I'm very excited to have high performance coach Deano with us, who's gonna speak about the 6 secrets of the world's highest performing leaders. The first session was amazing, outstanding. I can only tell you that I've had the pleasure, that's how I met Deano, to be on the same program with him. We were accountability partners for, I think, 8 weeks actually. And being with him in one team and one program, having him as your coach and accountability partner is the most amazing that can happen to you. He is a role model, and that's why I'm so grateful to have him today. Before I hand over to you, in case we have any newcomers here in the group, feel free to scan the QR code and I will add you to the Monday Morning Motivation WeChat group. We are actually about to open our 6th WeChat group. So we have 2,500 members by now. It's basically all a community for you guys to get up early, to be motivated to get up early, to stay positive over the day and week, and especially to start in a positive way your new day and week. And beyond this, why not create some new habits and develop yourself further. If you would love to get our membership, and the cool thing is that we have more than 1.5 years of recordings from every Monday morning. We have great discounts from our partners, whether you're looking for amazing coaches like Deano, or for Alicia, who's here in the call, or you need some psychotherapy, or you need some health products, sustainable products, accounting, visa service, whatever it is. We probably have the right partner here in our community for you. Yes, we have this beautiful book as well. I think that's a nice gift, not just for yourself, but also for your friends and family. It's bilingual or just in English. And every day you can get lots of motivational quotes. You can do some goal setting, gratitude. Alvaro was asking in the beginning about morning habits. And this definitely is one part of my morning habit. Okay, last but not least, and then I'm going to hand over to Deano. If you love what we're doing, you can join us for free every day. The motivational group chats are for free. But if you would love to support us, feel free to donate. And we also give 50% to the 1 Million Tree Project. So we're also basically helping to plant trees to do something good for the environment. Okay, now with no further ado, the next 20 minutes are for Deano. And then after this, guys, you can ask a lot of questions to him, either via chat or you can unmute yourself. Deano, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Janine. Enough love and respect, enough love and respect. Just want to say a blessed good morning to everybody who have joined us this morning. And what I'd like to ask, just in the comment section, just drop a few energies so that I know that you can feel the vibration of my voice. Just drop something, it doesn't matter. Hi, yes, we hear, whatever it is. I want to see something in the comments so I know, okay, I can say woohoo, let's get it, let's get it. Let's get it. Just want to make sure that we are on the same playing field. Yeah, I can feel those E's. One more. 3 is the lucky number. And hi, I love that, Yolanda. Now, I have a big question for you, okay? And I want you to answer this question as you know fit. What is the number one thing that most people want in the world? What's the number one thing? You can leave your answers in the chat. What do you think is the number one thing? Happiness, great. Anything else? Security, a big one. Peace. Yes, ma'am. Okay. One more. Okay, let's go with these. Happiness, peace, and security. Now, those are great answers, but the only thing that those answers have in common is that they're all wrong. Okay, there are things that people want, but in my opinion, I don't believe that they are the number one thing that most people want. And it may not be what you expect. You know, in late September 2015, I had the first thought of wanting to kill myself. You know, I was there on the 7th floor of my school dormitory. My hands were tightly wrapped around the rail, and I can still feel the breeze of the 7th floor in my face. And there was only one thought going through my head. Jump, Deano, jump. Just get it over with. You know, that is the only way you can get rid of all this pain. You know, it's funny, we always have this voice in our head, but deep inside, I know that something wasn't right. You know, but something definitely wasn't right. At that point in my life, I was in a terrible place financially. My relationship was going to the dogs, and I was just going through the motion, lost in my works. And on my best days, I spent wrapped in my sheet, hoping and wishing for all I was experienced to go away. But something changed. I changed. One day when I was there, wrapped in the sheet, mindlessly scrolling through YouTube, I came across this incredible speaker by the name of Jim Rohn. If any of you know who Jim Rohn is, you can just drop some love in the comment. He's a really amazing speaker and leader. And he said something that really resonated with me at that time, as if he projected out of the screen and he was literally talking to me. Just imagine he projected out of the screen. I'm there on YouTube and he's like, Deano, for things to get better for you, you need to get better. And at that point, I realized that everything that I was experiencing at that point has everything to do with my performance and no one else. And at that point, I didn't know exactly where to start or what to do. So I did what any human being would do. I stayed in bed and I continued scrolling, listening to those tapes. Then he said this: learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. And I was like, wow, why haven't anybody told me or tell me stuff like this before? Maybe they have, and I didn't pay attention. But these are things that I needed to hear at that current moment. And I did what any human being would do. I stayed in bed and I continued scrolling until he said this. This was the magical statement, or the insightful statement that really got me. And he said, don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action. And at that point, I realized if I'm going to change the state that I'm in, I can't stay in bed just listening to these tapes. I needed to take action. I needed to move. I needed to become more. And the number one thing most people want in life, ladies and gentlemen, is more. Won't it be nice to have more success at work? Won't it be nice to have more passion in your relationship? Won't it be nice to have more happiness? Won't it be nice to have more money in your bank account? Won't it be nice to be more focused, productive, and have more meaning in life? But the thing is, for us to have more, we need to become more. We need to activate our full potential. We need to shift into a higher gear and become a high performer at whatever we do. Okay? And as I'm going through this presentation with you, you're going to become more and more aware of the full potential you have stored inside of you. But it's a matter of you becoming aware and being intentional and taking action. And as your high performance coach, I'm going to ask you some very tough questions. Yes, some very tough questions. But the goal of these questions is to help you find your own emotional truth. And this means that you would get more out of the session the more that you put in. Okay? So I just want you to meditate on some of the questions I'll be asking, because this is not a presentation. This is a coaching session, my friends. And prepare yourself to be coached. Okay? Janine, you can enable the share, and I think it's still disabled for me.
Oh yeah, sorry. We did this earlier. There you go.
Okay, thank you. I guess the big question that everybody must be wondering is, what is high performance? Okay, I know we have most experienced the feeling as kids You know, we've always want that new bike. We've always want that new car. We've always want the dolly that Betty had. And then when we eventually got it, it's like all that feelings went away. And when it comes to becoming a high performer, it's excelling and succeeding above standard norm consistently over the long term. And high performance is not something that you have or you don't, but high performance is a practice, okay? And that practice comes by mastering these 6 habits I'm about to share with you. And these are not habits that I magically took out of my head. These are habits that was modeled by some of the world's most successful and high achieving leaders. That was conducted by the High Performance Coaching Institute. But high performance is not just about the what. A very important thing is about feelings, okay? Because at the end of the day, we want to feel a certain way. And high performance is a feeling of full engagement, joy, confidence, and it comes from consistently living into your own potential. Now, I know most of us have studied science in high school, and one of the mind-blowing things we learned as kids is that energy is neither created nor is it destroyed. From one form to the next. So what does that mean? It means we have the potential to will, shape, and form the energy around us, okay? And that comes from us tapping in to our own potential. Now, how do you know if you are performing at a high performing level? Well, you know, most high performers like Janine are very open and observant to the present moment. They are creative, loving, and expressive, self-resilient, future-oriented. They're not trapped in the past. They imagine who they want to become and start living into that now. They are challenge seekers, connection lovers, and meaning makers. Okay? Because when we get to the end of the road and we're on our deathbed, we're gonna look back and we're gonna ask, how meaningful was this journey? How meaningful was this ride? And high performance in life is a heightened and sustained level of clarity, energy, courage, productivity, and influence. How clear are you about your overall life and goals? Okay? Are you showing up at your best? And do you have the mental and physical energy to get the job done? Okay? How bold or confident are you showing up? What habits or routine are causing you to fall off course? And what routines do you need to implement so you can stay on track? And how are you influencing and inspire your family and those that you serve? Okay? And these are some of the factors and the things that high performers would strive to experience more of. And based on, and based on what we have discovered from research, for us to experience these 5 attributes, we need to master these 6 things, okay? And I'm gonna be asking you some questions following these slides, and I want you to think about these questions, note the answers, okay, and see and feel how you're going to take actions on them. Okay, so if you're ready, because I know I am, get ready to shift the way you think about showing up. And the first secret of high performance is to master your mind. Are you living your truth today, ladies and gentlemen? What 3 words really define you as a person? And are you living those words? What 3 words should define how you should interact with others? And are you living those words? As I ask this question, I want you to think about these 3 words, okay? And not just think about the 3 words for now, think about the 3 words that your future best self would embody and write them down, okay? Write them down right now. And when you have these 3 words, you need to become intentional about living into these words. And there are days when you mightn't, show up as you should. But what matters is that you always have a trigger that pulls you back to these words. And secret number 2, which is one of my favorites. Earlier, somebody asked me what were my 3 favorite. This is one of my most favorite, okay? Because science have now shown that the mind is not isolated from the body. There's a mind and body connection. And my question to you today is, are you rested and fully hydrated? Are you getting the energy your body needs for you to perform? Are you sleeping, eating, exercising, hydrating, and gesturing? Okay, one of the reasons when I speak, I move my hand a lot because I know when I move my body, there's a certain interaction with the energy around me. Okay, there's a certain interaction with the energy around you. And at first, it may be uncomfortable to some of you, but that means that this is an opportunity for growth when that discomfort shows up. And if you're not doing these things, I want you to write now. Write on whatever paper you have. Where can I start and how can I start? Secret number 3, master your focus. Earlier, Alvaro was asking, sometimes we get to the end of the day and we feel like we're not being productive. And it's very important to know what your mission is today. It's important to have big goals and big dreams, but it's also important to be focused on now. What am I looking forward to today? What are some of the feelings I like to cultivate today? Who are some of the people I like to engage and interact with today? And what must I accomplish today to progress in life? Now, one of my favorite questions to ask myself every morning is, how can I bring extra meaning to my day today? That is one of my most important questions, because we know sometimes the day doesn't go as planned. But if we can do that one thing that brings extra meaning, we would feel a certain level of satisfaction from bringing more meaning to our day. Okay, and I want you to ask yourself these questions and identify things that bring more meaning to your day as well. Secret number 4, master influence. Also another one of my favorites. And the reason why this is one of my favorites is because we are not isolated islands. And anything great that have ever been accomplished was accomplished with a team, with unity and togetherness. Okay, so the question I'm asking you now is, are you developing influence today? Are you demonstrating empathy and bold enthusiasm when you seek to influence others? When you show up at work and you sit next to your colleague, are you being intentional about how you can inspire the person who's sitting next to you? And just a quick tip for most of you who may be a bit introverted and a bit more on the inside, whenever you seek to develop influence, it's all about the other person next to you. Speak more about them, inquire about them, pump their dreams and aspiration. And the excitement and energy that they feel, you would inversely feel that as well. Okay? I know the funny thing is, you guys will look at me and see me speaking like this and think, oh, this guy is so extroverted, so outgoing. But by heart, I'm such an introvert. You won't even know. Okay? But these are practices. These are habits that can be developed. It's not something that you have or you don't, but we need to take action. We need to be intentional. Secret number 5, master your presence. One of my most aspirational goals that I have for myself is I like to be able to walk into a room and no one, without anybody seeing me, hearing me, but should be able to feel my presence. They should be able to feel a shift in the energy in the room. Okay? And when it comes to presence, it's all about the posture that you hold. It's about how you show up with your chest. Okay, so what level are you in terms of your emotional and physical vibrance and presence? I have this one friend who works on a cruise boat. He usually works in the kitchen, and he told me this very interesting story. He said that when he's in the kitchen, there are some workers They usually have these plates, the waiter have the plates here on their shoulders. And when they walk, because of the weight, they'll be walking like this. And he said, even after work, when you meet them outside, they're still walking like this. Okay. It may seem like something simple, but these shifts in our physical presence change a lot of things that goes on up here. Remember, mind-body connection? So I want you to check in with yourself. What level are you in terms of your emotional, physical vibrance, and presence? And build practice around your day so that you can practice this habit. And last but not least, secret number 5. And we think of this as the foundation upon which each of these habits are laid. And the beautiful thing about these 6 habits is that when you increase your performance in one, your performance in all of them goes up. They're all interconnected. But now I'm going to ask you about what is your mission, your purpose, and how can you stay on purpose and serve greatly right now? Okay, one of my very close friends says that, motivation is like perfume. You got to spray it on, and when it wears off, you got to spray it on again. And it's the same thing with these 6 habits. We got to continuously remind ourselves to show up and to be consistent. Whenever you're creating your morning routine as well, you can have actionable steps that you use to actually practice these habits to become more of a high performer. Okay? We have the potential within us to create more than we can ever imagine. Okay? And that means that as you think about these habits, you're going to become more and more aware that you can develop a heightened level of performance. And if there's anything else, if you don't remember anything about this presentation, if there's anything that you should remember, is for things to get better for you, you need to get better. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. And don't let your learning lead to knowledge, my friends. Let your learning lead to action. Okay, because knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. Okay, taking action on the knowledge that you have. Now that's where things get excited. And that's where you start to shine. That's where you start to grow. And now this is my coaching model that I use to shift my clients into high performance. In the first 6 sessions, we work on clarity, energy, courage, productivity, and influence. And in the last 7 sessions, we shift gear to master these 6 habits so that they can all work together. And today I have something that I like to give to you personally. This is just my gift to you. Okay, so that you can start applying and master these habits into your own life. Whether you start with habit number 1, 2, 6, wherever you want to start. And what I'll be doing, I'll be offering a free strategy session to 5 lucky individuals. Okay, so what you'll do at this point, you'll go ahead, you'll scan the QR code, and there'll be an application that will be asking you some even more powerful questions. And maybe you may not sign up for the free session with me, but these questions in itself would shift your perspective on how you shop. It would help to draw you to a new focus in life. So you can go ahead and scan the QR code. I'll review the application and then we can connect. Also, I give one other gift to the group this morning, but I add something a little extra for you guys here this morning. I think I robbed the other group of this opportunity, which I should have shared. Okay. Also, I have my ebook that I've put everything that I've learned about high performance in one digital ebook. Okay, even though you don't receive coaching from me or any other high performance coach, you can read this book, take note, and apply the habits, apply the action step so that you can shift gear into high performance. Because I know, just like me, I'm one of those people who self-learn a lot, and I learn a lot by myself to a certain point. Okay, so if you want to get started, just scan the QR code and you will get the ebook. so that you can start shifting gear into high performance. And I have one more thing that I'd like to share with you. On September the 6th, I'll be launching a 21-day high performance leader challenge. And this would be unlike any coaching program that you have ever entered, because I've been a fitness coach for quite some time. So I wanted to add that extra to shift you into high performance. And earlier, Alvera was asking about morning routine, and there's 3 things that I do religiously when I wake. Okay, I move, I meditate, I journal. Okay, move, meditate, journal, because it's all about getting that energy from in to outside. Okay, and in this program, you're gonna move, you're gonna meditate, and you're gonna journal. Okay. And there's a lot of other gifts and surprises inside of the program. I'll be working closely with you over 21 days so that you can embody these practices of high performance. So I want to thank Janine for this opportunity to share with this lovely community, and really thank you guys for embodying and asking yourself these questions more deeply. Okay, thank you.
Woo! Thank you so much, Deano. That's exciting. Another great session with you. Guys, the stage is yours. We're opening up. You can ask your questions. You can type it in a chat group. You can unmute yourself now if you like. We had so many amazing questions at 7 o'clock. Yeah.
I have a question. My question is, I asked
Go ahead.
Michael, I asked earlier, but okay, so what 3 words define you? I remember you said what 3 words define you. So I guess you're talking about like what your top 3 priorities are. So what 3 words define you?
Well, it's not necessarily words that define me per se. What I'd like to ask you to do is to imagine your best future self. And what 3 words would you use to describe that individual? And as you imagine that individual, write these words down and start living into them now. For me personally, my 3 words are enthusiastic, inspirational, and creative. Because when I see my future self, he's full with enthusiasm. Okay, there are days when maybe I'm not as enthusiastic. My future self, he's also creative in his work. And there are days when I may not feel creative as well. And my future self, he seeks to inspire positivity in those around him. And there's days when I may not feel like being that right now. But these are words that should show up on your phone or show up somewhere on your wall to remind you that as you're going to step into your day, to live them. And that is what it is. It's a practice of becoming that person. It's not, oh, I have these words now, but these are the words that I want to embody to live into. So maybe some of you are thinking that, you know, oh, I'm not this type of person, I'm not that type of person. That's perfectly fine. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine your best future self. And whatever words comes up to you, you write those 3 words down, you take your phone up, and you put them as an alarm in your phone that goes off at least 3 times a day. So when you see that notification, these 3 words comes up and remind you, okay, time for me to step into that person. Okay, there are days when you may not be able to do it, but come on, we need a reminder, because motivation is like perfume. We gotta spray it on now and again, right? That was a powerful question. Thank you for that, sir. Thank you for that, Helsa.
Okay.
That was a powerful answer. Wow, thank you. I see it now.
You're welcome, my friend.
Okay, who's next? Mathilde was just sharing her 3 words: determined, doubting, highly mastering of my work. Awesome.
Well, one of the things that I like to suggest is to have your 3 words be positive words. You know, words that would grow or stretch, you know, your consciousness. So that way, it shifts you a little bit into out of your comfort zone daily. Okay?
Okay, what other questions do we have?
I have a question real quickly.
Yes, please.
Go ahead, Albert.
Okay, so what you just said right now, you said like the goals and the words should be like very positive so that it kind of guides the person into the right direction. So you personally, in your coaching experience, have you ever had a client or a friend that perhaps you had to guide towards something better? Because like I feel that maybe it's human nature, especially when you're younger, to be a little fuzzy or maybe perhaps unclear about what your actual goals are. Perhaps maybe the goals are a little too, well, to put it bluntly, maybe they're too shallow, right? So if you have like a client or a friend or something, and like you hear what they want to achieve, and perhaps it's something that's not exerting the right energy, how do you go about towards like redirecting their focus, or like do you not redirect their focus?
That's a beautiful question, Alvaro. One of the things that I mentioned earlier is that these words can change with time, and sometimes when we are at level 1, sometimes to get us to level 2, we need to think more about level 2 words. As we get to level 2, we realize that, wow, I can even be even more. Like if I've achieved this now, how much more can I be? Because to be honest, Alvaro, 7 years ago, I wouldn't have even believed that I'll be doing something like this. But one of the most powerful exercises that really shift my consciousness was from a book I was reading. I can't even remember the name, but it was an exercise of closing my eyes and visiting my future self and having a conversation with that future self. It's just a practice where you imagine you meeting that future version of yourself and listen to what they have to share and some of the things that they'll tell you. Okay, right now you may not be able to live into those words, but you're gonna practice living into those words. And in my experience, most of the times, you know who you want to become. There's always that layer of fear or that layer of doubt that may be telling you that, oh, I'm not enough to be that person. Maybe you're not enough now, but with practice, we can become. And that's why as a high performer, it's important to imagine your future self. Not just today and then tomorrow you forget, but to consistently imagine your future self. Okay? To consistently remind yourself. That's why you put these words in your phone as an alarm. Okay? I hope that answered your question.
Puts me in a perspective, a good perspective. Thank you.
Okay, so can I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay. So when you say this, imagine consistently, I think that's really good. So would you also like to advise like how frequently we need to think about this and to see, are we on the way or are we on the track?
That's a very, very powerful question, because one of the things in NLP is all about the evidence of you achieving your goal, which is very, very, very important. But I'd like to redirect this question to you, Irene. How often do you think and feel you should remind yourself of the people you like to be? Yeah. And I know that as I asked that question, you already have the answers. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. And the answer more or less is as often that you see fit. The more often, the better it is. Because if you have mastered your mind to such a point where you don't even have to say it, but it becomes subconscious and you start living that truth because it's there all the time. You know that you are creative. You are inspiring. You are enthusiastic. Okay? There are 3 layers of learning. There's the unconscious incompetent. Like you don't know that you don't know it. Then there's the conscious incompetent. You know that you don't know it. And then the next level is the level that all of us hope to achieve, is the unconscious competent. That is where you know it so well, you don't even have to consciously think about it, you're just being it. Okay, and that's why practicing is so important. Okay, and it starts with reminding yourself. That's where we put in the reps. Eventually, one day you don't need to put the reps in anymore, because you would embody that on an unconscious level. Okay.
Okay, another question you say about the full potential. I mean, how to capture the feeling like you feel like when you are at the full potential and you feel very, very confident. I feel like memorize this kind of the experience and able to compare myself at different status. I feel it's really helpful for me to be conscious and to be aware how I am or where I am or how far I am to my full potential.
Okay, if I had to ask this question, what's the number one thing that most people want in the world, Irene?
I think I want just to be happy and I can be able to control and lead the result I want. I think that's the full potential I would like to achieve.
And let's say you have that right now. Then what? What would you want next?
I want to have more influence.
And say you have more influence now. What else would you want?
I would like to feel like I'm very capable.
That's so beautiful, isn't it? And as you think more about the things that you want, and you become more a part of the being that you'll grow into, you would want even more for yourself. Okay?
Okay, so I think we have one more question here in the chat group, and then we gotta close it. You can, like, Deano is in all of the 5 WeChat groups, so you can definitely connect with him in the WeChat groups. He will share his programs there as well. And Yolande was asking, could you give an example of implementing your 3 positive words in your life? So you said creativity. How would you implement that in your daily life?
Okay, like for me personally, this is from my own example. And I know, Yolanda, as I answer this question, you're gonna even find abundance of ways you can apply your words as well. Okay, I know you must be wondering, how simple can this be? And it's really simple. For me personally, one of the way I embody enthusiasm, or being enthusiastic, well, one, I need to remind myself throughout the day as well, because I'm human, my energy gets depleted and I don't feel that way. But then when I set these alarms throughout my day, that shows up in my phone, I shift my posture. I think about how I want to engage with the next person I'm going to meet. And then I do that. One of the way I practice creativity as a coach, or anybody who's running their own business, they need to market, okay? When I create my videos, I have a WeChat channel. When I create my videos, I think about different ways how I can bring my message across. I draw or write daily. And one of the things that I'll encourage anybody and everybody to do is to journal, okay? Because journaling is a conversation with yourself. Journaling is magic. You're literally taking things from here and you're bringing them, manifesting them into reality. Journaling is more or less like coaching yourself. Again, that is a very creative practice as well, as simple as it may seem, okay? And in terms of inspiration, as I said as well, when it comes to influence, it's more about being more interested in the other person than you are about yourself. And that's one of the things that I learned from the book from Andrew Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. A brilliant book. Okay. Be more interested in the other person because I am you. I hope that helped to answer your question, Yolande. Thank you, Jeremy. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, really, really well done. So let me just quickly share. So this month, it's an interesting fact, we're gonna have some friends from Hangzhou speaking the MMM community. I probably should call it the month of our Hangzhou speakers. We're gonna have an MMM event in Hangzhou this month. Stay tuned about that. And next week, it's gonna be Chinika speaking about stepping into your greatness. And she's even gonna perform. I'm not gonna tell more, I'm just saying she's an inspirational speaker, coach, and poet. Yep, stay tuned on that. We have Housing Gray speaking in 3 weeks. And at the end of September, we're gonna have Angie from Hangzhou speaking as well. If you like, oh yeah, some great news. Our MMM community is growing. Stay tuned on that. We'll tell you a lot more, but we have a really inspirational and international team joining us. And if you like what we're doing, as you know, it's all for free. Feel free to donate, scan the QR code, and we also give 50% to the 1 Million Tree Project. And yes, that's it for today. I hope you all loved what you heard, what you experienced with Mr. High Performance Coach Deano. Lucky me, I'm gonna have a one-on-one meeting with him today. So, but guys, I hope you have a beautiful Monday. Have an awesome, positive week and start implementing the knowledge that you have from Deano from today. Happy Monday. Yes, Rajni, Hangzhou rocks.
Thank you,
Happy
champions.
Monday, everybody. Thanks, Deano.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.